Hi, I'm Annie, and today I'm going to talk about pressing an antique mold and putting a pattern on the back. So today the antique mold I'm going to be using is called Enlightenment. It's a beautiful lotus flower print, and then the texture I'm going to be using on the back is botany borders. But you can use any antique mold and any texture plate that you would like for this project. And this is what our finished project looks like. You can see beautiful recesses of the lotus flower and the beautiful texture on the back. So for this particular antique mold, you're gonna need about 20 grams of clay, and we are using FS 999. So it's important to get your clay to a nice consistency. And when I tend to work with antique molds, I do like my clay to be a tad bit drier than some of the other processes I use for clays. That way, just when you're moving it around, it helps keep its form coming in and out of the mold. So I got it to about the shape that I need to take, and then I'm just gently pressing into the mold to make sure that it gets in all the areas properly. As you see right here, I put a niche in the mold, and that's at the very bottom. So when I go in to press my pattern on the back, I can get it to line up the way that I want to. So now I'm going to take my ultra clay pick and kind of remove some of the excess clay from around the mold that I know that I'm not going to need. And you can see from pressing that my clay is not exactly even. So I'm going to keep doing a little bit more pressing with my fingers, because this particular antique mold is got a lot of depth and it is very deep. So the thinner I can get it on the top, the less thick it will be. And then once I get to about where I want it, then I'm going to take the acrylic work surface and give it one nice firm pressing, because that will give a nice flat bottom that I can then use my texture pattern. With this texture pattern, you want to make sure that you use some cool slips so your clay does not stick. And for this particular pattern, because it is so small, I am taking a brush to make sure that it gets in all the nooks and crannies, just to help the clay release and to get a nice clean pressing. So I'm finding where I cut the niche, and I'm thinking about where I want my pattern to be. So I'm going to try to focus this element kind of in the center of the back, and then line up the line with the vertical lines on here. And this is where your acrylic work surface comes in really nicely again, because pressing it gives you a nice even pressure across the pattern. And then once you got your pattern on the back, you can transfer it to a tough card. Gently remove the clay from the antique mold. And then from there, you can go ahead and cut off your excess clay up to your pattern of the antique mold. So the nice thing about antique molds is you can use a fragment of them. You don't necessarily have to use the whole thing. And if they do have a nice cutout area, you don't necessarily have to go around. You can go in and refine it and cut away the extra clay any way you really want to. It's also nice working on a tough card, because you can rotate it around as you're working. And you don't need to get right up to the pattern. You just want to get it in close enough to conserve some of that clay. And then later on, after you get it into greenware, then you'll go back and do your refining. Okay, get your excess clay removed. And then you can knead that back up, and it'll go back into your hydrator for later. And the thing that's so great about working with metal clay is there really isn't ever any waste. So you can just pick up all the little extra clay that was here and there and put it away for later. Okay, now your piece is ready to go to the dehydrator or sit out for 24 hours to properly dry. And then after that process, then it's ready to be refined and fired. Well, this is a finished element made with the antique mold and the pattern on the back. And this could be used as a brooch, a pendant, a pair of earrings. The piece of jewelry is a three-dimensional form, and the front and the back should always be considered.
Visit our Learning Center at cooltools.us for more cool jewelry making videos. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and be sure to sign up for our email list to be the first to hear about new videos, new products, and other cool stuff from Cool Tools.